foreign people talking about how Gaddafi has changed. As far as Libyans are concerned, Gaddafi hasn't changed the slightest.
And who has to feel shame? The people who bowed to him and kissed his hand. I did not bow to him, and I did not kiss his hand. Unfortunately, foreign governments, they bowed to him and they kissed his hand, like they're kissing the hand of a saint.
He's very erratic, very irresponsible, and everyone knows, but because he's pumping oil, because he has control over that oil, people are willing to dismiss anything he does.
Libya's oil fields now lie in the eastern half of the country Gaddafi has lost to the uprising. In his battle to remain, Gaddafi has set his people against one another. What began as a protest has become a fight for the future.
I received a Twitter from a youth in Libya, and this probably was the hardest one I got, and most life-changing. And it says, I can't specifically quote what he said, but from what I remember, I'm paraphrasing. He said, "We, the youth in Libya, will topple the regime down, and you, the people outside of Libya, you need to come back and rebuild the country." And I'm determined to make it, to make his dream come true, and we will go back and we will rebuild Libya.
Especially my daughter, she's very upset because she has she said to me, why we can't go home, Dad? And the first thing, I want to take them to Benghazi, and I walk the streets of my hometown with them. And that would be the greatest feeling for me.
On the next Riz Khan Show, 1,000 women dying every day. That's roughly the toll from pregnancy and childbirth-related issues, all largely preventable. We look at maternal health issues.
Riz Khan, at this time on Al Jazeera.
A debilitating condition afflicting millions of women across the developing world.
Sometimes it is not possible to cure a patient with fistula. We have to prepare her psychologically.
Revealing the human stories behind fistula and its intimate connection to poverty. A powerful new series exploring global maternal health. Birthrights, at this time on Al Jazeera.
This is Al Jazeera.
Hello and welcome to the News Hour live from Doha. I'm Taimur Nabili, and from Al Jazeera's news centres here and in Washington, D.C. These are our top stories. Holding their nerve, but losing some ground, Libya's rebels are hit hard by Gaddafi's forces. And this is how the Libyan leader is said to be dealing with the soldiers who are refusing to shoot rebels.
I'm Shia Bratansi in Washington. As NATO launches 24-hour surveillance of Libya, the US president says Washington and its allies are still considering a military response to the crisis. Also, the US government lifts a 2-year ban on new military trials at Guantanamo Bay.
Also ahead in the next 60 minutes, change in Tunisia. A new caretaker government disbands the country's hated secret police. And Côte d'Ivoire's troubles are far from over. We meet the men who say they will die to keep Laurent Gbagbo as president. Well, it's beginning to look like Libya's rebels, who've been trying to topple Colonel Gaddafi, are now in trouble. As they tried to move closer to the Libyan leader's strongholds, it seems they have been hit hard, in particular in the west, just close to the capital, Tripoli. We now hear that they have lost control of AlJazeera, and after intense fighting, they're still holding Misrata, which is their only significant foothold in the west. It's halfway to Sirte, which is Gaddafi's birthplace. He has a great deal of support there, and our sources tell us that Gaddafi has been sending reinforcements to that town. Now, further east, the rebel positions have also been pounded in Ras Lanuf and in the nearby town of Bin Jawad, where Tony Bertley reports for us.
In the shifting sands of north-central Libya, the confusion of conflict is sweeping through the rebellion, where it has reached and where it is going. The mass build-up of men and heavy weapons continues from the rebel side, and men of all ages and from all backgrounds have answered the call to arms. The new front line is near here in the small town of Bin Jawad, where the momentum of the rebel advance has been halted by Gaddafi's forces.
They stay in the house and take all the families in front of them and start to shoot us. So that make us get behind a little. But we can't shoot, because if we shoot, it's a random. If we shoot, we may kill some of the families.
But it's an unpredictable area where accurate information is scarce. Territory is changing hands frequently, and the threat of infiltration and counterattack is high. The speed and relative ease it took the rebels to reach her has taken everyone by surprise. Gaddafi's hardcore, well-trained units are about 180 kilometres down this road. They are said to be equipped with a vast array of high-tech weaponry, and those with military knowledge are wondering when and not if they're going to use it. Gaddafi forces have been spotted in the area, and although opposition fighters seem unfazed, locals are aware of what lies ahead.
What about if they go to Sirte? And Sirte people, 100% they are waiting for these people. Really, I didn't know, maybe people without, they cut the half of them.
The nearby town of Ras Lanuf has changed hands several times. It's now held by the rebels. According to locals, Gaddafi's men simply withdrew. Now most here are leaving, fearful of what is going to happen.
We are stuck in the middle between both sides and don't know where the bombs are coming from.
What started as a civil uprising is developing into an armed struggle, but not yet a civil war that many fear. The sound of jets above sends the rebels into defense mode, firing wildly into the air at a target they cannot see.
There's a military plan. We're afraid of him. Let him, we come here to die.
But only 2 bombs that we know of were dropped, and both missed the large concentrations of fighters and hit the desert, and no one was hurt. Some are wondering whether the pilots are deliberately missing in sympathy with the rebellion.